There is a certain kind of man no one talks about. No mentor, no rich dad, no clear path. Just a guy alone in his room at 1 a.m., searching the internet for answers his father never gave him, trying to figure out money, women, purpose, and his own mind, with nothing but chaos and YouTube. Everyone around him looks like they had a help, connections, guidance, a map. You? You had Google, overthinking, and the constant fear that you're quietly ruining your life. If that feels uncomfortable, accurate, stay. Because you're about to see why being self taught alone and figuring it out in silence is not a weakness. It's exactly what can make you into a man who cannot be broken. And if you miss this, you will keep living like the underdog in your own story. If you're new here, my name is Rio. This channel is for young men who feel mentally overloaded, numb, and always behind. I make videos to help you calm your brain, escape cheap dopamine, and build your inner strength without fake hustle culture. If that resonates with you, subscribe and stay close. Let me start with the hard truth. If you're a self taught man, your life will almost never feel like it's on track. Not because you are failing, but because you're not following anyone else's track. If you don't understand that, you will live your whole life thinking you're broke when in reality you're just early in the forging progress. I will break this down in 3 parts. By growing up with no real guidance quietly messes with your mind, the hidden strengths you're building that other guys never get, and a concrete way to turn your silent struggle into a structured path for the next 12 months. Stay with me to the end because I'll give you a 7-day challenge that can completely change how you see your own story. Let's be honest about what this actually feels like. You are the guy who has to Google everything: how to text her back, how to negotiate salary, how to not hate yourself. But you hear friends say, "My uncle helped me to get the job," and you silently think, that must be nice, right? You go to bed thinking, if I mess this up, there is no safety net. No one is catching me. Growing up with no real mentor, no emotional present father, or just no one showing you the path, there's a few things to you. You constantly second guess yourself. Every decision feels heavier because you have no reference point. There is no, this is how men in my family do it. It's just you guessing. You feel secretly behind, even when you're doing okay. You get a small win, and instead of pride, you feel relief like, thank God I didn't mess that up. That's not celebration, that's pure survivor. You feel like nobody really sees the weight you are carrying. People see your calm face, they don't see the 50 open tabs in your brain, trying to figure out rent, work, health, future, family, all alone. If this is you, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are carrying a load most men never had to carry on their own. So let's visualize something. Imagine 2 men on the start line. Man A. His dad walked with him through finances. His uncle gave him the first job. His older brother warned him about certain women. He grew up with a blueprint. And then there's man B, you. No one explained money. No one modeled healthy relationships. No one taught emotional control. Your blueprint was don't be like them, but no idea what to be instead. Who do you think feels more behind the 22? Exactly. The one building a map while already walking the path. But here's the twist. The second man, if he doesn't quit, becomes something the first man almost never becomes. When you are forced to be self taught, 3 brutal things happen, and each of them, if you survive them, turns into a superpower. Chaos turns in adaptability. Your life doesn't follow the standard script. You switch jobs, move cities, you try businesses, fail. You date wrong people and get hurt. It's messy. But inside the chaos, your brain is learning. How do I adapt fast? How do I figure this out without anyone holding my hand? The guy who always had the guidance panics when the script changes. You have never even had a script. That makes you dangerous in a world that changes every year. Doubt turns into self-trust. When you have no one to ask, you're forced to make calls alone. It's scary. You will get things wrong, a lot of things. But over time, if you keep going, something shifts. You start to recognize the pattern of your own good decisions. You notice, when I follow this feeling, it usually works out. You build a quiet sense of, I can figure shit out. That's self trust. Not affirmations, no fake confidence, evidence. Loneliness turns into inner world. No one is coming to save you. You learn to sit with your thoughts. Sometimes it turns into overthinking and pain, yes. But if you stay with it long enough and you clean your inputs, that same loneliness becomes a deep inner world. You think for yourself. You question things. You develop your own philosophies, not just whatever's trending. Most men never get to that. They just copy whatever identity is handed to them. You are forced to build yours from scratch. But let me not romanticize this too much, because there is a dark side to being self-taught that can absolutely ruin you if you don't address it. And if you recognize yourself in what I'm about to say, the next part of this video is not optional for you. There are three main risks. The first is the randomness. Because you have no map, you jump from one thing to the next. 1 week is dropshipping, next week is trading. Then you go in the monk mode. Then you think, I'll move cities and everything will change. You're not actually committed to any path long enough to get results. You're just trying to escape the feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing. The second one is the echo chamber. Without real mentors, your only teachers became algorithms and people who want your attention. So you end up consuming 10 conflict philosophies a day, adopting extreme views just because they sound strong, getting more confused the more you learn. And the third thing is self-blame. Because there is no one above you, every failure feels like a verdict on your identity. It's never, I wasn't taught this. It's always something like, I'm stupid, I'm late, I'm not built for this. If you stay in that loop, you won't become forged in silence. You will just quietly break in silence. So how do you avoid that? Without suddenly magically getting a dream mentor or a perfect father. You build what I call a silent curriculum. If you're self-taught, you can't rely on people to give you a path. You have to design a path and then walk it. Here's a simple framework to do that for the next 12 months. First, you need to focus on the direction. Then you need to focus on your feedback and then on the iteration. But let's go through them quickly. You need one main game you are playing this year. One simple direction, not 5. Ask yourself, if 12 months from now I was noticeably better in one area, which area would change my life the most? It might be something like money or career, your body or health, or your inner world, your mental stability. Pick just one as your main game. The others are supporting characters. Let's call it like this. Then you define your game in a sentence. I'm becoming the guy who X by Y. For example, I'm becoming the guy who can make 2K a month from his skills online by the end of this year. Or I'm becoming the guy who never lets his emotions completely control his day. Now, every week, your question is, what did I do to move this game forward? Not, did I do 17 habits? Just, did I play my main game? Then comes the reality check. Self-taught men often live entirely in their heads. You think you are failing, you think you're behind, but you never look at actual data. So build one simple feedback loop for yourself. Once a week, same day, same time, just for 15 minutes. Ask yourself, what did I try this week? What actually happened? In money, in progress, workouts, or in my mood. What did I learn? And what will I change next week? Write it down. Not in your notes app that you never open again, in one dedicated place, a notebook, a document, or whatever. After 8 to 12 weeks, you will see something wild. You're not randomly trying stuff anymore. You are running experiments. That's how you go from lost boy guessing to man who is learning his way forward. The third piece is change without quitting. The last piece. You're allowed to adjust the how, but you are not allowed to betray the who. What I mean by that? If your game is, I'm becoming a guy who takes care of his body, you can change from going to the gym to calisthenics to running. Cool. But you don't drop the identity of I'm the guy who takes care of his body. If your game is, I'm becoming the man who can support himself, you can move from job to job or skill to skill, but you don't drop the deeper commitment. I will figure out a way to be financially solid. Most self-taught men quit because they confuse changing strategies with changing identity. You can change your path, but you don't change your direction. Look back at your life for a second. All the times you had no help, all the nights you had to figure it out alone, all the mistakes you made with no one to rescue you. Most of your life you have used those memories as proof that you have disadvantages. What if they were your training montage? You weren't being ignored, you were being forged. Forged into responsibility, no one's coming, so you act. Into creativity, you always have to find a way, and into resilience. You have already survived more than most people will. A man who was spoon-fed the path will crumble when life stops following the script. You've never had a script. If you stay in the game, you will outlast almost everyone. So let's make this real. With the 7-day challenge, right? For the next week, I want you to write down one simple sentence for your game. I'm becoming the guy who X by Y. Put it somewhere you see it every day. Once a day, do one action that moves that game forward. Small but real. Send one mail, do one workout, study for 20 minutes, or apply for that one job. Just one. At the end of each day, write 3 lines down. What I did, what I learned, and what I'll do differently tomorrow. No one needs to see this. You don't need someone to clapping. That's the point of this whole thing. You're not building a highlight reel. You're building a man. So if you are that guy who has always felt like he's doing life on hard mode, I want you to know this. You're not less than the man who had guidance. You're simply earlier in a different progress. Your silence is not the emptiness, it's the furnace you're being forged in. If you are in for the 7-day Forged in Silence challenge, type forged in the comments so you are not alone in this. And if you want to go deeper into calming your brain, building that inner strength I talked about, watch the video I've linked on the screen. It fits perfectly after this one. You might be self-taught, but you're not hopeless. You're becoming something most people will never understand.